What's up, ladies and gents? Cujo back in the house with another video. Please like, share, sub, all that noise, right? That way you know when I upload. If you're looking for some of the best occult teaching on the face of the planet, there's going to be a contact email. You're going to find that in the description box. So anything you want to ask in regard to the one-year apprentice course, the upcoming Tarot Inner Gateways course, fetishes, handmade ritual candles, anything like that, contact me there, guys. I'll get you some answers to your questions. But today, we have to begin building from scratch. It's important as a spiritual teacher that people know what I believe as a spiritualist, especially if people are going to be learning under me. Usually, it's wise to give some information into one's worldview before we start aligning with certain individuals. So I'm going to go ahead and break that down because, listen, guys, and this is why I'm never going to have great influence. This worldview does piss people off on both sides because it's based in reality. Hermetic principles. This is what my worldview is based on. As above, so below. As within, so without. This implies a fractal universe. It implies a fractal nature in regard to reality. We can get very specific and look at the neural network of our brain as the below of the universe above because they look identical. They do. This is one example. We could look at basic geometry as an even better example of this, the pentagram, ironically, being the best example because within every upright pentagram is a downward facing pentagram, and within that pentagram is an upright facing pentagram, and within that pentagram there's a downward facing pentagram, and this goes on for infinity, forever. The pentagram might get smaller and smaller or larger and larger. You might have to zoom in a little bit to see it or zoom out a little bit to see it, but it doesn't change the fact that light and darkness, above and below, upright and inverse, these things are mutually dependent on one another. As a matter of fact, they are the same thing. That's the first point I want to make about my worldview. Light and darkness are not at war, ladies and gentlemen. Angels are not at war with demons. This is not something that we accept, believe, or propagate. They are the same thing. Divinity is not without knowledge. Divinity is not going to create anything for the sake of binding and destroying it. Are there forces beyond divinity that do? Yeah, we call those the archons, the parasites. But this is beyond God and the devil. This is beyond Lucifer and Belial. This is beyond the red dragon and the black dragon. It's something separate. Those beings themselves are what have circumvented spiritual truth and built their disempowerment matrix into religious systems, knowing that the beliefs of the subconscious mind reflect themselves outward within reality. Light and darkness cannot be at war. Absolute light and absolute darkness are equally blinding. This is just a matter of fact. You see me on this screen because of an overhead light source and the shadows that it casts. If this room had no source of light, you would not see me. If there were no shadows cast, you would not see me. Make sense? We can look at pre-Kabbalistic spiritual traditions. Ancient systems of belief. We could look at the Vedic systems, yoga, and how they use meditation to clear the nadis, the twin serpents which coil around the spinal cord, making way for the breath of the dragon or the kundalini to raise upon the sushumna and descend through the crown. These twin serpents represent light and darkness, the solar and lunar aspects of self, the conscious and the subconscious mind, the left and the right side of the brain, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. We need both of these. Yet, societal programming straight out of the gate says you're either right-handed or left-handed. Not true. We have two hands because we're designed to be ambidextrous. They made me choose as a child, and I chose to be right-handed because I looked around and that's what everyone else was fucking doing. The only reason I'm still ambidextrous is because of martial arts. I can still write with my left hand too, just not as effectively as I could. I should practice it to reawaken those neural pathways. But the reason that they do this is because when you are left-handed, you are more right-brained. And when you are right-handed, you are more left-brained. And they know that if you're only focusing on cultivating one aspect of your brain, your mind is not fully going to flourish. It's a lot harder to anchor to divine presence in the now when you're simply limiting yourself to simple things like being only left-brained or only right-brained. That's an impossibility. But they focus on it. Trust me. Once you pick up crayons, you are learning to be either right-handed or left-handed. They should. If they wanted empowered people, they should be teaching children to color with both hands. If education was actually about empowering people, this is what would be done, you see. So, we see the dragon as the Alpha and Omega, the source of all spiritual potential, the source of all things, the monad. It is not something we try to name, right? Because it's beyond that. It can't be put in a box. If it is all things, it can't be any one thing or any one personality. This implies that all angels and demons are scales on the body of that one dragon. The dragon has two wings: Lucifer, the light bringer, the God principle, and then Belial, the black dragon, gatekeeper of the abyss and lord of the earth, Satan. These principles are not at war. All angels are scales on the body of the red dragon. All demons or daemons are scales on the body of the black dragon. But these are all aspects of the one dragon. So when I say the dragon is the Alpha and Omega, we're not just talking angels and demons, though, either. We're saying that divinity in general, every god, every goddess, since the beginning of human consciousness, when we decided that's God, that's divine. From the beginning of time up until this very point, and until the very end of time, it's the dragon. You might call it something different. You might be talking about specific potentials within it, but it's all the dragon. Gods of light, gods of darkness, it matters not. They're middlemen. And I don't say that facetiously. I say that to let you know that you could not face the dragon and understand. You have to call on specific facets or aspects of it, because that's the only way you can deal with it and stabilize the current. We can look at history and we can see that the dragon is found within all spiritual systems, worldviews, since the beginning of human history, since the beginning of time, since before these things were written down. It might have been feared within certain traditions. It might have been revered within others. It doesn't matter, though. It's all the same divine principle. We could call it chaos. This is why some will call the dragon Tiamat. I do not. I do not, because I don't want to limit divinity to any specific time, culture, or place. The dragon is infinite potential. We do focus on faith here. It's an absolute necessity for the actual manifestation of magic. But we do not rely on blind faith. They say that faith is belief in those things which are unseen. I call BS, because I teach my students to find the face of their gods, the angels, the demons in the world. I show them that these things are very real. They can be observed in reality. And once they see that, it is easier to interact with them. It is easier to extract these forces from the subconscious. It is easier to bring the external potential and power in a more focused way inward through invocation. And it's easier to then see through their eyes, so that you can expand and see through the eye of the dragon, the Dracontia, the eyes of divinity, to be able to see things from a higher perspective. But we do not see angels and demons as being something that we need to choose over. We understand that the Satan is the archons, and that's not angelic or demonic. It's squid-like. It's a worm. It's a parasite that circumvents divine potential. Like, divinity has two sides. We're built in the image of God. There's the pillar of mercy. There's the pillar of severity, right? There's the left and the right side of the brain. There's a conscious, subconscious mind. So therefore, we need to understand that God is not going to go to war with itself. The light bringer is the Lord of the earth. It is the dragon. Same thing. This is important to understand because once you start coming to this realization and you actually approach the occult through this lens of perception, what happens is the dragon takes notice and the floodgates of synchronicity open up in your life. And this is what lets you know, okay, this shit's real. I'm dialed in. I'm locked in, yo. This is what lets you know. It happens to all of my students like clockwork. If they actually apply themselves to the work, they are going to experience tons of synchronicity on a consistent basis. This is direct communication from the dragon. This lets me know that my job is being done effectively. We believe in making you whole, holy, complete, through clearing the nadis, by employing work with angels and demons, through progressive pathworking, and a systematic and scientific methodology that helps to ensure success. There is no cosmology that you must believe in, though. No specific creation story. You can work with whatever pantheon you want. Christians can come here and learn a ton. What we do here aligns with observable reality and science. Science and spirituality are not seen as mutually exclusive within this way of thought. They are mutually dependent. Truth cannot be debatable. It cannot be debated. You can debate scientists, you can debate religious scholars for one reason. None of it's true. There's truth in it, but it's been manipulated. Those manipulations are always going to create loopholes for argument, debate. Truth, though, it's blatantly obvious. There's no debating it. This means that what we do is also based in logic. It's grounded. And that implies that students also get real world results rather than spending time in Delulu fantasy lands on social media. Lives get better. People improve their lives. This is what the occult is supposed to do, right? It's not about weird online forums and unverified ritual gnosis. Are you obtaining power? It boils down to that. Let's give you another example. Angels and demons. These are, in essence, also parts of our biology, not just aspects of the psyche, but they're parts of our biology. There's 72,000 sand-like crystalline particles around the perineum. There's 72,000 sand-like crystalline particles around the mercy seat of God, the Agna chakra, the pineal gland. Every 1,000 of those sand-like crystalline particles is a potential we call an angel or a demon. And these things can't be at war either because of this interesting phenomenon that happens. You see, as the Kundalini raises, it creates friction, pressure, heat. This is why it will begin by pressure in the root. You'll feel it before a Kundalini awakening, before that explosion. You feel this pressure. It's because of friction. This causes the sand-like crystalline particles to begin to congeal. This becomes oil. This is the oil in the lamps, right? This oil then rises. And when the Kundalini gets to the Agna chakra, the mercy seat of God, the friction starts to congeal those sand-like crystalline particles, right? And they mold together and they start to produce carbon, coal, melanin specifically. And under that heat, under that pressure, the pineal gland becomes the black diamond. What happens when you put coal under pressure? It becomes a diamond. We're talking about libido here, you see. It is said that whenever a warrior slays a dragon, if they can remove the black diamond from their brow, they will obtain all of its magical power. It's about mastering self before the libido dies. See, these things are obvious when we look at things from an outside perspective and we say, makes sense. But when you're stuck in the paradigm of a specific magical system that's based on one aspect of a religion or hate for a religion, it's never going to be based and anchored in truth. It's based on opinions and ideas. We want to look at reality and focus our worldview on that, which is why we teach our students here within Ordo Dracontia to find the daemons within nature and to learn how to interact with them in practical ways. This will empower rituals in almost severe ways. So our cosmology is on one simple premise: understanding self, understanding reality, our place in it, and then getting to where we need to go to get there. You can plug in any god, goddess, angel, demon, or belief system you like. It's still science. It's still the dragon. It's the heart and soul of what we do here. The nucleus of it all. Understanding this thought process. Understanding the balance that has to be there, because if it isn't, you're a half-assed human being. No one wants to be half a man, half a woman. You can't be whole. You can't be holy. You can't be complete when you are adhering to these outdated, imposed, oppressive belief systems. Anyway, that's what we're about here. and perfect love, and perfect trust. Devour, destroy, become or be crushed. Curtis Joseph, signing out.